At the beginning of the movie, we meet Riley and her father Cooper. Riley is listening to her favorite singer, Lady Raven, as she rushes to see her at a concert. She hurries to catch a glimpse of her before she gets off the bus, though the crowd has already formed. Cooper lifts her onto his shoulders so she can see, and everyone starts cheering, thinking Raven is finally coming out. But she's actually in a different bus, and the fans are ecstatic to see her. Riley jumps down to follow her, and Raven waves at everyone. After that, they wait in line to enter the venue, and upon entering, Riley notices some girls performing choreography, which inspires her to join in, while her dad films both her and Raven on screen. Along the way, they stop to refresh themselves and head to their seats, which are among the best in the venue, where we see a large number of police officers in the background that Cooper observes. After that, they enjoy a quick meal until the lights go out. Everyone starts screaming as Raven appears on stage, and the concert begins. Backup dancers join her while Riley immerses herself in the song, singing along and mimicking Raven. Cooper says he's going to the restroom and tells her to stay in her seat since she won't go with him. He heads to the restroom and notices a young man with his hands tied, viewed through a camera. Then he sees an old woman in the men's restroom. On his way back to his seat, he is stopped by Jody's mother, whose daughter used to hang out with Riley, but they are now at odds. She wants to mend their relationship, but Cooper is not enthusiastic about it. Meanwhile, the police set up their positions around the arena, and reinforcements arrive. Cooper returns to the concert just as Raven says everyone should forgive one another. As a sign of this, they should turn on their phones. She then continues her performance on the piano, and we see the police escorting someone in the stands. After this song, Riley wants to buy a t-shirt, but there's only one left, and a girl in line before her insists that it should go to her. Cooper agrees, and Jamie praises him for that, saying it's rare to see someone do that. Cooper calls Jamie aside to ask why the police are present and why there are cameras everywhere. And Jamie confides that the feds have discovered that the butcher, a man who goes around chopping people, will be here, and they are setting a trap for him. So, this entire concert is a setup. Nobody can leave the concert since everyone is being checked, and there is only one exit, which is backstage. After this, Cooper starts behaving strangely, suddenly craving cake and insisting they return to where he saw a cake stand, just as the next song has started. However, the stand isn't there, and he notices a woman feeling dizzy and approaches her, giving her a nudge so no one sees. This causes a commotion that Cooper sees as a chance to sneak out, but Riley notices he's behaving oddly. The exit is blocked by the police, and Cooper changes his plan, saying that this is Riley's favorite song, and they need to get back as soon as possible. The next song was written with Parker, and she asks everyone to say his name, at which point he appears next to Riley, who is overjoyed. This stage attracts Cooper's attention, and he asks Riley what might be going on downstairs and that they should investigate. Riley thinks this is crazy and asks what's wrong, but he agrees with her that they should stay. The entrance is closing, and Cooper goes to check if the t-shirt has arrived. Jamie says he needs to go check, and Cooper wants to go with him. He closely follows Jamie, who uses a card for the door. While helping Jamie retrieve a box, he secretly steals the card without him noticing. Jamie is obsessed with the butcher, having tracked all of his 12 victims. He shows him a picture of one victim on his phone just before the police arrive, and Cooper pretends to be unsettled. All the employees are trained and have codes depending on their sector in case they are stopped by the police. Cooper insists that he can tell him without pressure, and Jamie reveals that the code is Hamilton. Cooper takes the t-shirt that is charged to Jamie. After this, Cooper uses the card and enters the employee area. He sees an exit, but it is completely blocked by the police, who are showing pictures of the butcher and informing themselves about him. The goal is to isolate him and make him alone. In that moment, police arrive behind him, and Cooper improvises with an ID card as an employee, pretending to get coffee. One of the officers asks for sugar, and Cooper hands it to him, saying that a colleague should have filled the sugar bowl and giving him his stack, also offering him donuts. Cooper returns and takes a radio from the police, putting it in his back pocket. In the hallway, he is stopped again by Jody's mom, who wants to resolve the matter, but Cooper puts that off for later. As she brings him back, it increases the police's attention. But their focus quickly shifts to an event happening in the background, where they apprehend a man while Cooper sees the old lady. He mentions that their daughters might meet soon and returns to Riley, where he listens to the police radio transmission. The police report that the man they captured isn't their suspect, indicating they are looking for someone with a tattoo on his right arm, and Cooper resolves the issue. The police are getting closer, and Cooper claims he lost a credit card at the t-shirt stand, and Riley is not too keen on the fact that he's always finding excuses to leave, and he considers whether to press it, listening to their transmission that says he will attempt something like that to cause chaos, and Cooper backs down. He continues to observe and notices a door that might be his exit. Now he thinks about how to divert their attention and finds a way to raise the temperature in the food stand. He places glass bottles that explode, injuring a worker, which draws the police away from the door. He seizes this opportunity, wearing an apron as a worker. He heads upstairs, exclaiming that he will finally find a solution when the police find their spot there. Stunned, Cooper says there was an incident in the kitchen and that he needs to go outside. They ask him for a code, and he says Hamilton, then shows an invitation that isn't his. Before he leaves, he asks who the old woman with them is, and they reply that she is a profiler who has taken down 10 bad men like the butcher, and she has planned all this. Riley wants her dad to stay for the rest of the concert, and Cooper agrees. Raven chooses a dream girl at every concert who will perform with her for one song and also gets backstage access, which catches Cooper's attention as he thinks about his next step while distancing himself, playing and searching for someone who works for Raven. He meets up and it turns out to be her uncle. Cooper makes up a story about how his daughter just recovered from leukemia and loves attending Raven's concert. But now it's not important since she's better, and he returns to his seat. Soon enough, the uncle comes over and asks Riley to be the dream girl of the concert, and she tearfully agrees. They take them backstage, and they become VIP members. However, there is a police officer who saw him on the roof earlier and wants to talk to him, but the uncle reassures him that everything is fine. Riley has a whole new view and enjoys the song. The manager introduces her to the procedure that awaits her on stage, and Riley feels frightened. However, when it's time for her to perform, she overcomes her fear and enjoys the best moment of her life. Cooper notices the profiler approaching, and shortly after Riley finishes her song, he finds a way to distract her by noticing a girl who looks dizzy and takes her to safety. The manager praises them, saying they can watch here from the side because this is the last song. Raven goes behind the stage to prepare for the final song and uses an inhaler. Thinker joins her to perform together, and Cooper asks if they can leave here from the backstage as their car is near. After the concert, Parker greets them, followed by Thinker. Cooper listens again to gather what the police are doing. The old lady states that they will stop every man before exit. The manager then shows them an exit where they must undergo a routine check before leaving, which Cooper doesn't take well. They return to wait for Raven, who is checking the situation with the profiler about how things are going. Then she comes to them, and Cooper asks to speak privately with her. Cooper opens his arms and says he's the one everyone is looking for. He shows footage from the camera on his phone of the man who is tied up, and if they catch Cooper, he will release carbon monoxide and kill him. Thus, he requests safe passage home in a way that he wants to take a ride with Raven in a limousine to save Spencer. If she tries something, he will press the button and kill him. Raven wants to help Spencer and decides to play his game, while Riley is very excited. Suddenly, Raven says she wants to visit their house now, changing the mood for Cooper, who is nodding and pointing to his phone indicating that he is the boss here. Riley can't believe it and calls her mother to share the news. Rachel exits with her son when she hears they have arrived and meets Raven. They invite her inside, and Riley can't wait to show her room and heads upstairs. While they are alone, Cooper threatens to kill Spencer if she says anything. Later, as everyone engages in conversation, she remarks that this concert is different from others because it has all been staged to catch the butcher. Rachel states he is a monster and that her friends are also afraid of him. Raven announces that he made a mistake when he bought the tickets, and the police connected his location to a fake house. He also made some adjustments about his black car to appear cleaner and starts revealing details about him, but Cooper stops her and wants to take her out. However, Raven decides to play a quick song on a piano. The others are very excited that she will perform here, but not Cooper. She calls Riley over to her, taking phone secretly. They sing together, and Raven asks for a selfie, grabbing Cooper's phone for that and heading toward the bathroom while he brews with anger, banging on the door. Raven communicates with Spencer and receives 2 pieces of information about his location: a broken lion and a blue front door. Raven uses this by live streaming and requesting comments from anyone living nearby to go save Spencer. Once she finds someone to help, she shuts down the live stream and texts the driver to call the police. Then, she approaches the door and informs Rachel that her husband is the butcher. Cooper appears, opening the door. He demands his phone back, checks on Spencer, and sees he's been freed. He doesn't know how she did it, but they need to leave while he keeps his hand on her shoulder the entire time as they get in the car. Raven tries to reason with him that it's not too late to change, but Cooper knows what she's trying to do and wants to do one last thing before he commits suicide. However, when the garage opens, we see his family in front of them. Raven slowly exits the car and leads his family with her as he says goodbye to them. The police quickly arrive, along with the profiler, surrounding the house. Cooper is preparing the house for his guests. His family leaves the scene in a special car, while Raven heads to the limousine. The SWAT team enters the house, and Cooper isn't there because there is a tunnel leading to the neighbor's yard. However, the limousine suddenly stops, and footsteps approach, abruptly entering the car and placing handcuffs on her wrist. Cooper has found a way to escape this situation and leads her to his location. As they drive on, traffic builds up, forcing them to stop. Raven opens the window for a second and calls for help, but Cooper shuts it, looking for a new solution as he notices Raven freeing herself and exiting the car. The SWAT team quickly positions itself, and civilians are evacuated. The tires are first disabled, and after ordering the shot, they discover it is just SWAT gear propped up while he slips away unnoticed. The profiler orders to check around and goes to Rachel to offer help, but she wants to be alone for now. Meanwhile, Raven approaches and comforts Spencer, where we see the lion statue and blue door. Later, as Rachel gathers her thoughts, she hears a voice behind her. Cooper has settled in comfortably and asks if she ever suspected him. Rachel replies that she did when he came home late at night, thinking he had an affair. She also noticed the smell of cleaning fluid on his clothes that came from the hospital. But that's not all. Apparently, she followed him once to his safe house, which contained only a chair and a table. And then she remembered taking his receipt from the concert out of his wallet and leaving it on the table. So she called the police and told them that receipt might belong to the butcher, not knowing it was her husband. She just wanted to see what he was up to and hoped the police could help. She even tore the receipt to make it look like a mistake. The tension rises after their conversation, and Rachel suggests they try a pie for dessert. Cooper agrees and sits at the table, filled with rage toward Rachel because of her. He will no longer be able to see his children. However, after the last bite, he doesn't feel well, stands up, and loses coordination. Rachel has taken his bag and used his weapon against him. Then the first old lady we saw appears, and she is his mother, calling him, while the other old lady who spoke later is the profiler. Cooper approaches the awaiting police and is finally caught. But as he exits, he stops by the bike to lift it and take one last look. Afterward, Riley joins him in a hug, and Cooper leaves. What he did with the bike seems not just to have lifted it, but to have taken something that enables him to escape, laughing a lot as the movie concludes. In a post-credits scene, we see Jamie watching TV, witnessing the butcher's arrest and the revelation of his identity, and Jamie can't believe it, saying he won't talk to anyone at work anymore.